How we doing? Thanks for coming back to the Clay Allen Review. Today I'm going to be taking a look at the Fifine Tank 6. It's a USB XLR combo mic from Fifine. So if that is something you're interested in, stick around. All right, full disclosure, Fifine did send this microphone to me for review. Regardless of that fact, my opinions will be mine and mine alone. They do not get to have a say in how I make the video, and they don't get to see it before you do. Everybody gets to see it at the same time. But with that being said, let's go ahead and jump into it. All right, so looking on the outside of the box, Amplitank Fifine Tank 6 XLR USB recording microphone. For podcasting, recording, vocals, and streaming. It doesn't say vocals. I added the S myself. It is XLR interface compatible. It does have the one press mute button, the tactile mute button. It is an all metal design, and it is like a beefy metal design. This thing is heavy, just like the Tank 1, the Tank 3, the K669D. They're all built. They're all hefty. All right, so let's go around the box and see what other pertinent information there might be. Microphone volume control, real-time monitoring, cardioid, polar pattern. What's on the other side? USB plug and play, clean and crisp sound quality, headphone volume control. All right, and then on the back, pretty much everything I've already said. It's got the 3.5 millimeter headphone jack, natural sound reproduction, sturdy metal construction. I'll go ahead and find some specs and we'll throw those up real quick. All right, so we got 80 decibels for the sound to noise ratio. The frequency response is 100 hertz to 18 kilohertz. It's got built-in dampening, cuts bumps and plosives so your voice stays clear of the track. Clear on the track. All right, it comes with a balanced XLR port. Transmits clean signal to your interface or mixer that you already own. All right, so we got a 16 millimeter large diaphragm capsule, 192 kilohertz to 24-bit sample rate, and 300 ohms mic impedance. Depth and texture expected. Smooth mids and warm lows that fuse in spoken word podcast. So you've got a 24 hertz to 20 kilohertz monitor frequency response. Core use controls, instant access to volume, adjust and monitoring, no need to break performance. And there's your specs. So let's go ahead and hook this thing up and see how it sounds. Okay, we've got the Tank 6 hooked up. I am starting off in XLR mode, and this is no processing. This is what it sounds like. This is the Tank 6. Let's go ahead and do some proximity. This is what it's going to sound like if you get right on top of the Tank 6 from Fifine. This is what it sounds like, right on top. We'll do some plosives real quick. The standard tests. This is what we're doing here today. Standard stuff, okay? So I'm about 4 inches away, looking straight into the front of the mic. Peter Piper picked a pack of pickled peppers, and he puts pineapple on his pizza. Because pineapple on pizza is good. Don't listen to what other people tell you. It's good. Now we'll go ahead and do some off-axis rejection. We're talking... Actually, hang on. Let's do it this way. We're talking straight into the front of the mic. This is what it's going to sound like if you're right in front of the mic, and then we'll slowly come around to 90 degrees. This is 90 degrees. I don't know if I have it. Yeah, I do. And then this is 180 degrees. This is the other 90 degrees. And then we'll come back around to the front of the mic. There is your off-axis rejection. So I do have a air conditioner running. I'm going to go ahead and do a moment of silence so that you can listen for that. Let me just make sure. Yep, no processing is on. And I can see it on the monitor. You should be able to hear it. If not, when I go to check this, I'll just amp up the volume during that section so you can hear that background room noise. Okay. All right. So now we will go ahead and go with some resonance, some sound resonance. This is what it's going to sound like if you're tapping on keys. Let me just make sure that I am not on anything important. And all right, here we go. Tapping on the keyboard. And this is if you had your keyboard at a normal distance away from your mic's going to be over here. Your keyboard's out in front of you, 4 arms length, basically. And this is the keyboard in question. So I do not have a mechanical one. These are a little bit quieter. All right, but that's what you get. All right, so if you were to bump your boom arm, this is the sound you might hear doing so. Sounds pretty loud to me. Okay, there is your sound resonance. What else could we do? What else? Oh, we can do a little bit of a distance test. Let's do that. Let me get this thing out of the way. And this is what it's going to sound like at a normal speaking distance. All right, I'm going to go ahead and, just for the sake of this, I'm going to aim this a little more this way because I'm going to go that way. All right, so we're at about 5 inches, 4 to 5 inches away. All right, so now we're about 12 inches away. This is what it's going to sound like from about 12 inches away. Sorry for the noise. That's 12 inches. And this is 2 Ys away. This is what that's going to sound like. The only reason that we do things like this is to give you an idea of the noises that it will reject, or how your voice is going to sound if you're moving from side to side. This is what you're going to get, because there is a little bit of rejection when you get past the front of the capsule. Okay, now we'll do a little sibilance test, looking straight into the mic at about 4 inches away. Sally sells seashells down by the seashore. Sally sells seashells down by the seashore. There you go. All right, so I guess I'll do a noise floor. I guess I'll do a noise floor test. I've got my air conditioner running, so that's kind of, you're going to hear the air conditioner, but I'm going to go ahead and turn up the gain just a little bit and then just sit here quietly. And that's what the noise floor is going to sound like. I had my Rodecaster all the way up, so it was at 76 decibels of gain. All right, so that's what that's going to sound like. All right, and this is an example of what it's going to sound like with a pop filter or a windscreen. I just typically use these foam windscreens rather than like the pop filters that go in the front. But this is what we're going to do a little plosive test with this on. Peter Piper picked a pack of pickled peppers and he puts pineapple on his pizza. There you go. Do a quick sibilance. Sally sells seashells down by the seashore. All right, so a little handling noise, which this is not a mic that's meant to be used handheld, but if you had to for some reason or another, this is how it's going to sound if you had to use it as a handheld mic. This is the noises you're going to hear. Okay, real quick, just for fun, I'm going to do some processing. So this entire time you've been hearing it with no processing. I'm going to go ahead and turn on the processing on the Rodecaster Duo. And this is the sound you're going to get with the simple processing on the Rodecaster Duo. This is just one that it kind of, I think, picks on its own. I do have it on the SM7B profile. Let me switch over to a plain dynamic profile real quick and see how much different that is. So this is the sound with the dynamic profile with some simple processing. So now we'll go ahead and jump into some advanced processing. Okay, this is the dynamic profile with the neutral preset in the sound settings. So we've got 3 that come stock in your Rodecaster Duo. And I'll go ahead and go to the next one, which is Podcast Studio. And this is Podcast Studio. That's what this is going to sound like. Kind of got that little bit more deeper sound, but still has some brightness to it. We'll go to the next one, which is Broadcast. Okay, this is Broadcast inside the Rodecaster Duo with the Fifine Tank 6, and that's our processing. All right. So I think now what I'm going to do is I'm going to move on to USB mode. All right, so we've got it hooked up in USB mode. As you can see, the light is on. That is the mute button, so we might as well go ahead and demonstrate that mute button right. You can tell that it's muted because that's how you know for sure when it's muted, it's red. When it's not muted, it's green. All right, so there is your mute button. And then on the front, you've got the volume knob for your headphones and the mic gain. Currently, I've got the mic gain at like halfway. Let me see. Let me go. If I turn all the way down, so it looks like it. All right, so then we'll start coming back up, and there's the mic gain. So I've got the gain turned all the way up on this microphone. Looks like I could go down a little bit, maybe. Yeah, maybe I won't go all the way. I'll come down just a little bit so it's not hitting into the red. And we'll go with that. We'll go a little lower, actually. We'll go right about there. Okay, and then the other one is just your headphone volume. Right now I've got it turned all the way up, and as I start turning this the other way, the sound has gone, so I cannot hear it in my headphones, so I know that's working pretty good. All right, so there's an example of those two things. I showed you the mute button. We'll go ahead and do some quick sound tests in USB mode. Shouldn't be too much different. Peter Piper picked a pack of pickled peppers, and he puts pineapple on his pizza. Sally sells seashores down by the seashore. No, Sally sells seashells down by the seashore. Get that right. All right. This is some tapping on the boom arm. I can hear it in my head. I don't know how well it's coming through. And then we'll do some typing on the keys. Looks like I can see them. All right. There is your sound test in USB mode. And now I'll give you a quick demonstration of if you were to say you were using this in USB mode and you didn't have an audio interface and you were just plugging it straight into your computer using something like OBS, which is what a lot of people use in the world of YouTube and podcasting. They even use it at the radio station that I work at. But you can put filters on your microphone with this, and we'll go ahead and do that. I've got 3 filters set up, just basic. I've got noise suppression, 3-band EQ, and a limiter. So just to give you an idea of what it sounds like without the noise suppression, I'll go ahead and do a quick moment of silence. All right. Now we'll go ahead and turn that noise suppression on. And so now that the noise suppression is on, I'll do another quick moment of silence. And there's the difference with that noise suppression on. So now we'll go ahead and throw on a 3-band EQ. And this is what it's going to sound like with a 3-band EQ filter in OBS. And then I'll throw on a limiter. That you're not going to hear any difference. That's not going to change the tone. It's just going to keep me from clipping. If I was to get too loud like that, it'll keep me from clipping. All right. So there is some examples of the USB and its features. Okay. And then some filters in OBS. So now's the part where I have to give my final thoughts, and my final thoughts are this. I think this is an awesome microphone. Fifine, as far as I'm concerned, for a more affordable company, manufacturer of microphones, puts out they're just getting better and better. They put out some good stuff. May seem like I'm a little bit of a Fifine fanboy because I have so much Fifine stuff. It's just because they're good, and the each time they come out with something that's better, I want to have the next thing and the next thing and the next thing, because this is what I do. I review microphones. So I think it's a great option for USB and XLR combos. It does have a little bit of sound resonance, a little bit more, I think, than the Tank 1. So that's probably a drawback, but it's not a deal breaker. So with that being said, I don't really know what else to do. I think I've shown everything that I could show, giving you some USB examples, some unprocessed and processed. If you've gotten to this point and you haven't got a good feel of the microphone, you might want to just rewind and watch again, because I think it sounds pretty good. Everything that I've listened to, I've listened back to everything that I've done so far. I think everything sounds pretty dang good to me. So that's all I have for the Fifine Tank 6 in this video tonight. If you enjoyed this and got something positive out of it, give me a thumbs up. I'd appreciate that. If you haven't subscribed already, you can do that as well. And when you do, don't forget to click the bell so you get reminded every time I put up new content. Until the next time I see you, I'm out.